Hi, my name's Leah. We'll be doing our advanced Pilates session today. So as always, if you haven't, do have a look at the beginner Pilates to begin with, because it will go through things a little bit simpler and a little bit more slower. So by the time we get to this advanced level, we can really think about holding in our neutral spine and keeping everything nice and centered to protect and strengthen our bodies. Okay? So to start with, we're going to have our feet together as always. We're going to find our hip width apart with our toes out to 45 and then our heels out. So we're in our natural hip width position. We're going to stand nice and tall, bring up those shoulders and roll them back. So we're opening up that posture, stacking our head on top of our shoulders, keeping those ears nice and in line with our shoulders, opening up our posture. Okay, we're going to think more about our weight distribution today. So as always, I've got my chair here for support, and if you need to, just have it near a wall as well if you need a bit of extra support. And for this one, it challenges your balance a little bit, but what we're going to think about is where we bear our weight. Okay, so we're going to rock our weight slightly forwards and slightly back in a nice smooth momentum. Keep it nice and small. Think of it as like a seesaw. Okay, now as we do this, we're just going to slow that seesaw down until that seesaw hits a nice 50-50. So your weight's perfectly centered. It may feel slightly different to how you were standing before, but that's perfect. So we're going to work our way up from there. Okay, once again, we're going to think about our neutral spine. We're going to tuck the tailbone underneath us, pulling in our belly buttons, and we can feel that core engagement. So you feel like you've got a belt around your body and it's just locked in a couple of notches. Okay? So think about how your posture feels right now. It always feels a little different to how you'd normally stand, but that's your perfect posture stance. Okay? So from here, we can come away from our hip width for a second, and we're just going to go for our squats and lunges. So we're going to start to mobilize our body, get our heart rate up, get that blood flowing into our muscles, and get those joints active, okay? So we're going to go for our squats and reaches again. This time, if you're comfortable, I want you to draw the hips back a little bit further. So you're going to get deeper squats, okay? So we're going to bring the arms back and forward. Start nice and small to begin with. Keep that chest up, and then just extend overhead as far as you feel comfortable, and then begin to get a little deeper with those squats, like you're going to sit on a very low bench. And then if you want that extra challenge, onto the toes a little bit as well. Very good. We'll go for one more, and we'll come to a nice stop there. Okay, we're going to widen the feet, a little bit of a stance there, and we're just going to think about our thoracic spine rotation. So we're going to have the hands nice and loose, and we're just airing out the laundry. Okay, so we're just rocking from side to side, lifting those alternate heels, allowing nice rotation from the spine, and then bringing those arms a little higher, up to shoulder height, and then back down to the ground. Good, let's go slightly higher still. Really open up the arms, and lower back down. Okay, now we did our squats and reaches. Now we're going to do some lunges. So remember, start very small. All it is a little step forwards and bending of the knees and bringing everything back again. So depending on how comfortable you feel, you don't have to use a chair as a support. But if you feel that you need that extra balance support, then feel free to. So you're really working those legs. Let's go for one more on the other leg. Very good. Okay, we're going to take the hands to the shoulders again. Open up the shoulders, open up the posture. And as always, if you know that you have any shoulder problems, just stick to shoulder rolls or shoulder lifts. Go for 3 more. Perfect. And then we're going to do some arm circles, and if you're comfortable, get a little bit of a bounce going so you get those legs working as well, really opening up the upper body. 2 more, and let's stop there. Right, So to begin with, we're going to do our roll down. So as always, if you know you have any back problems, any osteoporosis, just go down to the mat in a 4-point position and when you feel comfortable, using a chair for support if you need to, okay? So I'm going to stand at the top of my mat. We're going to drop our chin to our chest. Keep that nice and heavy, roll the shoulders in, but keep the belly button scooped up. And then allow everything to be nice and heavy. And then roll down the spine, ligament by ligament, until we get down to the mat and just go onto our 4-point, okay? So we're going to do our spine mobility, our cat-cow. So once again, either rolling up the mat, if you need to, or hands in fists, okay? So I'm going to do hands in fists today. Make sure you have that gap between the knees, that hip width apart, and make sure you don't sink your shoulders, okay? Shoulders stay nice and strong. Pretend you've got a load of glasses balancing on your back. So you've got the tailbone tucked under you, and from there you're going to continue and pull up through the tailbone, come back to that tabletop position with all those glasses, and then extend through the tailbone and up through the top of the neck. Come back into your neutral position, pull up once more, tailbone tucked under, back into that neutral position, extend out, pulling the shoulder blades in and down, back to that neutral position. We'll go for one more, scooping up, back to that neutral, and one more extension. Okay, we can reach forwards then into a child pose if you want to. Get that stretch through the sides and through the hips. And from here, we're going to go onto our backs for our first exercise. So, our first exercise will be the 100. So this is an advanced exercise now. So it's very important that we protect and support our back by keeping our neutral spine, okay? You should always feel like you have a belt on and it's pulling ever so slightly. That's your core engagement, and those are the muscles that are supporting your back and holding your body nice and strong. So from here, we're going to do a few pelvic tilts. We're going to scoop everything underneath and then come back to neutral. Scoop the belly button under and back to neutral. Imagine you have a grape underneath your lower back and you're just squashing that grape against the floor. And once more, scoop under and hold it there. Once we're holding that neutral position, take a few deep breaths and make sure your shoulders are nice and relaxed. Because we're concentrating so hard, we tend to tense. So nicely relaxed up here with our upper body. Keeping that tailbone under us in neutral spine. We're going to bring one leg up to tabletop and then the second leg up to tabletop. Let's test and do a leg lift and leg drop. As always, if you're finding this quite hard, go back to our intermediate or beginner video. Everything's tucked under, the legs are up. Now, to make this one a little bit harder today, we can either lock the knees and the heels together and then scoop the head and shoulders off the ground and then extend the legs away. When we begin to tap, we breathe out, tap for 5 breaths, breathe in, tap for 5 breaths. Okay, if it's getting a little harder on your abdominals, bring those knees back over towards your center point and continue. Okay, the further your legs are away from your center point, the harder it is on your core muscles and also your leg muscles a lot now, okay? My other tip is try not to look at your tummy muscles, try to look up towards your toes, okay? So you're scooping in from here, working the core, and rest when you need to by lowering the hands down, placing the legs in hip width, and lowering the legs back down one at a time. So let's try once more. We're going to bring tailbone underneath us, core stays engaged throughout. Then we're going to bring one leg up to tabletop as we breathe out, and same again for that opposite leg. Glue those knees and heels together, scoop the head and shoulders off the mat, sliding the feet towards the toes. They only lift slightly off the mat, and then breathing in 5 taps, breathing out 5 taps. Breathing in 5 taps, breathing out 5 taps. Again, make it a little harder if you need to. And a few more. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And remember, always lower one leg back down at a time with control, keeping the core locked in, and then release once you've finished there. Okay, nice big stretch from the fingertips to the toes. And then let's go into our advanced shoulder bridge. So with our shoulder bridge now, feet are still hip width apart, okay? We're keeping that tailbone tucked under. We're tucking everything in, creating that neutral spine. Hands are down for a little bit of support there. Breathing in, preparing that core engagement, and then as you breathe out, lift the hips to the ceiling, scooping the spine off the floor segment by segment. Once again, we're either going to extend the arms overhead or up to the ceiling. Make sure the hips stay nice and high. From here, we can bring one leg up to tabletop, keeping the hips high, lowering back down, and that second leg up to tabletop. Lower back down. Okay, make sure those hips stay nice and high. It's very easy to drop at this point, okay? So keep them really engaged, tense the glutes, bring one leg up to tabletop, extend away from you, really working those legs and that core much harder at this point. Get those knees in a line and bringing the arms back through and lowering the spine back down to the ground. Let's go for one more. Remember, if you don't want to extend your legs, just go for the leg lifts. Or even at this stage, just continue holding the shoulder bridge for a number of breaths if you don't want to move your legs. Okay? So again, tuck everything under, hips to the ceiling, keep everything lifted, but everything tucked under strong. Arms come up, fully above if you can. Bring one leg up to tabletop, extend out and away, keeping those hips nice and high. Back to tabletop, lower back down. One leg into tabletop, extend away, keeping those hips up, lower back down, and then arms come through, hips stay high, and then spine lowers down, ligament to ligament. Okay, one more full body stretch there. And then we're going to go into our side plank. So we're going to our advanced side plank now. So for this one is a very big balance challenge, okay? So the difference with this one is once again the setup. As always, start at a lower level, either just stabilizing the shoulder and doing hip lifts. You're still going to work your oblique side. Or for the intermediate, extending one leg and pushing the hips up to that full extension there. For our full side plank today, what we're going to do is keep this leg bent, the one that's on the ground, and that upper leg is just going to cross in front, okay? Some of you may feel a little bit tight here, but just position yourself to where you're comfortable, okay? The closer, more compact your body is, the easier it will be. But if you want to go for the full plank, then you make sure you lengthen through the legs, okay? At this point, this arm won't be straight anymore. It'll go slightly off to the side, okay? From here, palms up because it opens up our posture, and then we're going to shoot this hip directly to the ceiling, up and over that shoulder and back down. Okay, we're going to go for 3 more. Up with the hips and back down. So really up with the hips, stabilize from the feet all the way to the shoulder, and then you'll really feel that core stay tucked under you, nice and strong. There we go. So let's switch over to the other side. Once again, this is quite a hard balance one, but if you're uncomfortable doing that at the moment, as I said, go back to our lower hip lifts because that's still strengthening our shoulder joints and our obliques, okay? So do from here, or use an extra bit of support if you need to Take it a step further, lengthen the upper leg, palm out for posture, and then hip up, okay? So that's our intermediate version. And then our full version, bring that leg back in, but lengthen the legs out away from you if you can. Adjust that supporting hand so it's away from you slightly, and then you're going to shoot the hips directly to the ceiling, and you're going to close and lock the knees together, okay? So from up and down, hips straight to the ceiling, remember, over that supporting shoulder, and 2 more, and 1 more. There we go. So that was our side oblique workout, okay, and that's very full body, that exercise. So work your way up slowly with that one. And so for our final exercise, we're going to do our V-sit. So last time we did this, we used a cushion or a ball to sort of just tuck under our hips so we could feel that engagement and we could understand with that support. Today, we're going to take the feet hip width apart instead of locked together. Unless you feel more comfortable keeping them together, then keep going with that one. But if you can, separate the feet now, and we're going to keep the hands there to begin with as a warm-up, sitting nice and tall, scooping our belly button in, head stays over our shoulders, and we're just going to pull back and draw back in. Now remember, only go as far as comfortable, because it's that pulling back into a neutral position that you'll really feel your core working, okay? So keep it very small to begin with. If you're feeling a little bit more confident and more comfortable, we can take away the ball and we can bring our hands out to the side. From here, we can go a little bit further, okay? And back up, nice and tall. So remember, tailbone tucked under, and drop everything back slowly. And then pull everything back in, okay, like you've got a string pulling you in from down here, not from your shoulders. We'll go for 2 more, and 1 more. Perfect. Okay, to finish with, we're going to do some standing stretches today. So in the intermediate, we did some nice seated stretches. We're either going to continue with those, or we're going to do some standing variations. So, if you're seated, we can do our hamstring stretch from here. Remember to position yourself on a cushion or a block under your hips, just to support your back if you feel the extra need to, or if you have particularly tight hamstrings, okay? So that's our seated hamstring stretch. For our standing hamstring stretch, again, position yourself so you're near something to hold on to if you feel the need to, as it can be a little bit of a challenging balance exercise. What we're going to do is cross over the left leg in front of the right leg. And we're just going to fold ourselves forwards until we feel that stretch in the back of the leg, okay? So we're just going to hold that for a few seconds, using that chair for my support, or if you have a yoga block, sometimes that helps. But make sure you keep the head nice and heavy again, so you don't strain your neck. Then we're slowly going to roll up from there, and then just do a little walk on the spot in case you feel dizzy, okay? Because sometimes changing from that position can do that. Then we're going to take the right leg over the left leg, and we're slowly going to fold forwards, nice and slowly, until you feel the stretch in the back of that hamstring, okay? Using my chair for support if I need it, because it can be a little challenging. And then we're slowly going to come up from there. Right, now we're going to do our quad stretch, or our hip flexor stretch, okay? Again, I've got my chair for balance, so I can stand here with the left hand on the chair, take my right hand and stretch out that quad muscle and that hip flexor, okay? Again, if you still want to do it standing but you struggle with the balance or holding this leg, we can just rest that leg on the chair there, okay? And position yourself until you get that stretch forwards. There we go. So I'll continue with this one. We'll hold it for a few more seconds. And then we're going to switch over. So I'm going to change my position. we're just going to take that left leg, and again pushing those hips forward slightly, standing nice and tall, and just take a few deep breaths as we hold this one for a little bit longer. That's perfect. And relaxing there. And then to finish with, we've worked our sides a little bit, so we're going to do a big nice stretch up to the ceiling, pull the shoulders down, hips stay square, just lean over to one side. There we go, so you feel that stretch in the side here, and then pull everything back up and onto the other side. And then just looking up, shoulders down, and then open up to finish. Okay, so that was our advanced video today. As always, I've put in a few extra challenges, so always try to go back to watch the beginner one as much as possible and then work your way up slowly. Okay, thank you.